So after boycotting hearings for President Trump's cabinet nominees, Democrats will soon face Judge Gorsuch at his confirmation hearings. And they're promising, as you can see, to fight tooth and nail for the seat they insist was President Obama's to fill. What consequences will that decision bring? David Avella is joining us. He's the chairman of the Republican Political Action Committee, GOPAC. Capri Cafaro is executive in residence at American University School of Public Affairs and the former Democratic minority leader in the Ohio State Senate. So a big headline, obviously everyone's getting along from Washington, D.C. But Capri, I'm curious about the consequences as you see it. What do you think are the consequences for Democrats not attending committee hearings, trying to boycott these votes, and now saying, you know, they're really going to draw a line when it comes to the Supreme Court nominee?
Well, I think what the Democrats are trying to do is utilize this strategy as one to present a unified message of democratic values to the American public. Obviously, there's really very little they can do to stop the process. And let me say one thing about the Supreme Court nomination. While the filibuster is a very valuable tool of dissent for the minority party, I think that we are missing the fact that it is actually the Democrats' fault that we are even talking about the Supreme Court pick to begin with. And here is why. Democrats never show up in numbers in midterm elections. We lost the Senate in 2014. Had we not lost the United States Senate, Mitch McConnell would have not been able to stonewall for 10 months, leaving this vacancy and giving President Trump the opportunity to appoint a new Supreme Court justice. We did this to ourselves, and if we don't get our act together in 2018, we're going to continue to lose seats. So I think that we really need to look at this in a bigger picture and understand that Democrats need to perform, and we need to do that by connecting with the voters.
Wow, a lot of follow-up questions for you, Capri. But David, I'm curious what you think about that assessment.
That is quite an assessment. Maybe we ought to get Capri to change her registration to Republican. She made some pretty good arguments there.
But
let me say, here is the most important. We're talking about process, but the most important thing that every one of the Democrats will face is how they're actually going to vote. And the senator to watch is actually Angus King of Maine. He's an independent who traditionally votes with Democrats, but not always. In fact, he's voted for a number of President Trump's nominees for the cabinet. Because even if you take all of the Democrats who should vote for the nominee, if they want to be in line with their state, Joe Manchin, Heidi Heitkamp, Joe Donnelly, all of the easy Democrats, that still only gets you to 57.
Right.
So you've got to have Angus King of Maine, and then you've got to find 2 or 3 Democrats in swing states, whether that's Bill Nelson in Florida, whether that's Claire McCaskill in Missouri, or even, though I think Sherrod Brown of Ohio has already announced his opposition, so you're not going to get him. But you've got to have Angus King, and he's the one to watch to see, can Democrats be successful in filibustering Judge Gorsuch, who is highly qualified to be the nominee or to be our next Supreme Court justice.
Interesting. So we have to. That's great to have a couple names just to focus on, because, quite frankly, the speed of how this is all moving and the different personalities is tough to kind of get your head around it. Capri, I want to go back to the bigger point that you're making, though, which is that you feel what Democrats are trying to do is show what Democrat values are. That's right. Yeah. They have a united front. We're not going to show up to these hearings. We're not going to participate. And fine, this is what our plan is. What are Democrat values? I mean, what are they trying to represent by their actions?
I think what they're trying to show is the fact that many of these nominees, for example, if you're looking at, Dr. Tom Price with HHS or Steve Mnuchin for Treasury, that they have potential conflicts of interest, that they're on the wrong side of, democratic values, being that they're for Wall Street and not Main Street, that they are utilizing their power for, their own self-gain in the context of Dr. Price,
But these are themes, I'm sorry to interrupt, Capri, but these are themes that they tried to use during the election cycle, and they lost. So are they making adjustments?
I think that Democrats, we're not there yet. I think that, one of the biggest challenges we have, and I believe that we are on the right side of history with many of our values when it comes to issues of the economy and fairness and equality and pay equity and you name it. That being said, I think with some of the problems that we have are our ability to articulate the message, to connect that message with the middle American voter, folks that I represented for 10 years in Ohio. And I think we have an issue with the messenger as well. If any of you saw, for example, Leader Nancy Pelosi the other night on another network that will remain nameless, in her town hall, you know, she really did not come off as someone that can connect with Middle America.
You know, it's interesting you say that because Nancy Pelosi had a press briefing today. And in it, again, she's criticizing Donald Trump as an illusionist. She's calling one of his key advisors a white supremacist. These are things that we've heard before, but again, it's doubling down on a couple of these themes.
Right.
David, I wonder, though, if the question for Republicans is this. In the past, we have seen what happens when a party moves ahead without reaching out to the other side. And there's a few examples of that. Obamacare is one. You know, what lessons can Republicans take from Democrats and what they've seen during the Obama administration to not repeat the same mistakes and perhaps present a different way of Washington working in 2017?
Well, you're seeing it with many of the Supreme Court or many of the cabinet nominees that they are getting Democrats to come vote for President Trump's nominees. And they have consulted Democrats. Democrats were considered for the cabinet. They're being considered in policy discussions. But let's not forget.
I don't know what policy discussions.
Jenna, let's not forget for a second. There is a reason why Democrats are in the position they are in. And let's go through the roster again. We have the White House. We have the U.S. Senate. We have the U.S. House. We have 33 Republican governors. We have 68 of 99 state legislatures. And why do we do that? Because unless the Democrats can create the rules, unless the Democrats can get exactly what they want, they walk out, they don't show up, and Americans aren't going to vote for that. Take Judge Gorsuch for a second. The standard for a Supreme Court justice is, are they qualified and are they competent to do the job? That has been, throughout our history, the reason why you vote yes or no. If you believe they're competent and you believe they can do the job, you vote for them. The Democrats are now going to set a new standard, which is unless you are philosophically with us, as you heard from Elizabeth Warren just talk about, she talked about philosophically why she couldn't be for him, not whether he was qualified or not. And if that's going to be the standard for Democrats, Capri is going to have a very tough time come 2018 keeping Democrats in any offices.
Well, apparently you're going to offer her a job, though, so that's good, David. I mean, just in case she needs that. I mean, that's nice.
I'll respectively decline.
David, it's great to have you. Capri, great to have you as always. Thank you so much.